What up, what up, what up? How are y'all doing? I'm doing great as usual. Now, it's been a minute since I jumped on with you guys live. And I said, and I'm going to be true to my word, as soon as I got 50 subs, I'm going to start going live. So I'm hoping a few of you jump in here with me. Now, as you know, and as you watch some of my videos, you know I love the sport of boxing. And I want other people out there to love the sport of boxing. And this video is all about Undisputed and where we are going in 2021. We got to bring boxing back, y'all. That's what we got to do. We got to bring it back. And how we bring that boxing back is by setting up undisputed fights. Now this year, man, we got a lot of undisputed fights. And the thing is, with boxing, a lot of people get turned off with boxing because there's just too many belts. There's too many belts. You got 4 belts for each different weight class. 4 champions. 4 champions for each different weight class. People get lost. They don't know who's champion, that champion. You got international champions. I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy. And this year can be the year of Undisputed. We can bring boxing back, y'all. We can bring it back. We can bring boxing back. For sure. For sure. 2021, we got one fight that's been announced that's going to be undisputed. And that fight is Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez. Josh Taylor is from the UK. He was in the Super 6 tournament. He beat Pro Grade in the championship. And now he has 2 belts and the Ring magazine, I believe. And Jose Ramirez is a Mexican fighter, come forward fighter, very good fighter. And he's got the other 2 belts. And we need more fights like this. Because like I said, there's too many belts. Nobody out there, the casual fan, does not know who is the champion. The reason why they don't know who the champion is because there's 52,000 different champions. And since the 4-belt era, there hasn't been too many undisputed champions. And I think that's part of the reason why boxing has taken a dive in recent times. I remember in my era, I think the golden era in boxing is what, 80s to you guys out there, the older crowd. But to me, it was 90s, 2000s, early 2000s. And in the past 10 years, boxing has taken a dive. Now, I don't know if it's just all these champions and all these belts and all these weight classes with MMA thrown in the mix and going mainstream. But MMA and boxing are 2 different sports. So I don't think that if you were a boxing fan and MMA jumped to the mainstream with their ESPN deal and all the other deals that they had in the past. If you were a boxing fan, I don't think you just abandoned boxing to go to MMA. So I can't really blame MMA for the decline in boxing. As they say, boxing goes as the heavyweight division goes. And for a while, we had a heavyweight champion that was from Germany who never fought in the United States. Really. I think, and he was champion for 10 plus years. So I think that had a lot to do with boxing taking a dive. And with Vladimir Klitschko being the reigning heavyweight champion for so long, the lower weight classes and Floyd Mayweather tried to carry the sport. But the sport of boxing needed consistency. They need one unified champion, one undisputed champion. And we didn't have that for a while. And 2021 is the year that we could have a lot of undisputed champions. I just mentioned Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez. They are fighting May 22nd, I believe. They were supposed to go May 8th, but they moved off that date because obviously Canelo Alvarez is fighting Billy Joe Saunders, which is a big fight, and another big fight that can be a pathway to undisputed at 168 pounds. And in the four-belt era, there hasn't been an undisputed champion at 168 pounds. But we'll get back to Canelo and Billy Joe in a little bit. So we got one undisputed fight scheduled, locked and loaded, ready for everybody in the boxing world to watch and witness. And for you casuals out there, you need to watch this fight. It's two great fighters, two contrasting styles. One's a southpaw, one's orthodox. One's more of a boxer, one's more of a come-forward slugger, brawler. It's going to be a great fight. You guys do not want to miss that fight whatsoever. And then we have another big fight. The biggest fight, I would say, I'd probably say the biggest heavyweight fight since Frazier Ali, which we all know we just hit the 50th anniversary for that big fight, that wonderful fight. But we have a heavyweight fight that is going to be the biggest, definitely in my lifetime, and that is Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. Now, if you're a casual fan, you might not know who Anthony Joshua is. You might not even know who Tyson Fury is. But Tyson Fury is the fighter from the UK who just beat our American champion, Deontay Wilder. Anthony Joshua has 3 of the belts. Tyson Fury has the coveted green and gold WBC belt. Those two are rumored to be fighting late June, early July. We're just all waiting on the announcement. We've heard that contracts have been sent back and forth. Both fighters have finally agreed to every detail in the proposed contract. We are just waiting for these two fighters to put pen to paper. Now, in the heavyweight division, there has been a lot of unified champions. But that was before the 4th major belt was considered a major belt. we have never had 4 major belt undisputed heavyweight champion. This will be the first. And like I said earlier, boxing goes as the heavyweight division goes. We need this. We need Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor. We need that fight. So in 2021, I could say comfortably we will get 2 undisputed champions. And that can only help the sport. Because when I'm trying to talk to my friends out there and I'm talking about how great boxing is, and they ask me, well, who's the champion at 154? Well, we got this guy named Charlo, and we got Castagna. What do you mean? You got 2 champions? Yes. It's a long story. But unifying and becoming ultimately undisputed will help the sport of boxing push forward. And you guys all know that I'm all about bringing boxing back to the top. If not to the top, at least top 3. I mean, in America, I don't think boxing is ever going to surpass the NFL. And I'm okay with that. But as long as boxing in America isn't below college baseball or college hockey, I mean, we can't have that. Boxing is too great of a sport and does too many great things for people in the sport to be that low on the totem pole. We need boxing back. We need to bring it back. And that's my goal. That's why I talk about boxing, not just to people on YouTube, to my friends, family. I try at the end of my videos to give you something I call bandwagon fights, which are good fights that I like and will hopefully show people in the sport, show casual fans great fights, and hopefully they will become huge boxing fans. That's the goal of my channel, nothing more, nothing less. And also to talk to real boxing fans out there. That's why once I hit a certain number of subscribers, I wanted to start going live. Now we got Jose Ramirez and AJ versus Fury. And we have other fights that could possibly end up with an undisputed champion. Now I just talked about Charlo and Castano. Charlo has 3 belts. Castano has 1. If that fight happens, then we will have 1 champion in the 154-pound division. That's what we need, people. We need these guys to fight each other. Now, in the 135-pound division, we have a weird scenario. Now, casual fans won't know what I'm talking about, but the 135-pound division is weird at the moment. We got Teofimo Lopez, who's got all 3 other belts, and he has something what is called the WBC franchise belt. Now, the WBC threw that in there. I don't know why. I guess just to screw things up and make it even more strange. So my question to everybody out there right now, we got Devin the Dream Haney, who holds the regular WBC championship, and we got Teofimo Lopez, who has the franchise championship. I've heard a couple different answers from Mauricio Suleiman. For y'all who don't know, that's the president of the WBC. I've heard Mauricio say, nope, Teofimo Lopez is not the undisputed 135-pound champion. Then I've also heard him say he is the undisputed 135-pound division. I don't know what that means. It's strange, really. So my question to you guys is, do we consider Teofimo Lopez the true 135-pound undisputed champion? Now, if you do, that's great. I don't know what to think of it. I would like to see Devin Haney fight Teofimo. So there is no questions. Because it doesn't matter what I believe or not. It matters what the overall boxing community think. Now, I would say Teofimo Lopez has to fight Devin Haney. Yes, it's all good. Teo's got the franchise belt, but I've also heard that the other three major organizations, the IBF, the WBA, and the WBO, do not recognize the WBC franchise belt as far as Undisputed. So I guess my question is, what does the overall boxing community think? I would like to see Devin Haney fight Teofimo Lopez. Unfortunately, that's not happening in the next fight. It looks like Devin the Dream Haney is going to be fighting Jorge Linares. And of course, we all know that Teofimo Lopez is fighting George Kambosos. But that's another fight that could possibly solidify another undisputed champion in one of these weight classes. And I think that should be the goal, boxing fans. Push for these undisputeds. Let's get one champion in each division. One champion. Now, we got a fight that's happening that we know for sure is happening May 8th. That fight is, of course, Billy Joe Saunders, the WBO 168-pound champion. And then we got Canelo Alvarez, who is the WBA and the WBC 168-pound division champion. So we got those two squaring off May 8th. And that fight is a potential fight that could lead to an undisputed champion at 168 pounds. Ma the Meatloaf, man, thanks for jumping on. How is Devin Haney? 25-0, but hasn't fought anyone in the top 10. Hey, Ma the Meatloaf, you're not alone, brother. A lot of people say that. A lot of people say he's an email champion. But you and I both know that Devin Haney is a decent fighter. Now, how he became champion, I don't really like that. That's why I don't know if you heard me probably about 3-4 minutes ago. I would say I'd still like to see Haney fight Teofimo Lopez. Quick question for Ma the Meatloaf. Do you consider Teofimo Lopez undisputed? I am having trouble with that. I don't know what to think about that. All I know is I would like to see them both fight. Yeah, he has skill, just saying. Yeah, he does have skill. But I would like to see him fight Teofimo and decide once and for all who is undisputed at 135. But Canelo, Billy Joe, fighting May 8th. Canelo Alvarez has 2 of the belts. Billy Joe has 1 belt. And then we all know that Caleb Plant has the IBF. Ma the Meatloaf. I agree with you, brother. Nakatani, Comey, Loma. He has the best resume out of all at 135. And probably throwing Tank Davis in there, even though his last fight was at 30. I was going to do a video and go live about the 4 Kings, they call it, but in my mind, Teofimo Lopez is the only one who's doing anything in that division. And I don't know why he's getting stick to fight his mandatory George Kambosos. He just had 3 tough fights in a row. Or should have been hard fights. Nakatani, top prospect. I think he was undefeated. And then champion. Now, if anybody in boxing right now deserves an easier fight, it is Teofimo. Like it or hate it, that's the way it is. My the Meatloaf, thank you for the subscription, brother. I appreciate it. Everybody in YouTube knows the goal that we all have to hit, and that is 1,000. I'm far off, but you, by subscribing right now, I appreciate it. That's a huge help, and I'm glad you jumped in with me. I like to talk to my subscribers. I like to talk to real boxing fans. I don't want to be like other channels out there and swear and cuss and call them names and block people. No. I want to talk about boxing, and I only care about trying to bring boxing back to the top. I know we probably won't get there in America, like I said, but boxing should be a lot higher on the totem pole than it is right now. But I'm just going over 2021, the schedule that we know of already, and the potential of making these divisions undisputed. And I was talking about Canelo and Billy Joe. They're fighting May 8th. Now, Eddie Hearn and Canelo's team has come out and said that Canelo wants to be undisputed at 168 pounds. That's commendable. We all want to see that, especially since in the 4-belt era, there has never been a 168-pound undisputed champion. And Canelo said this last week at some point. I didn't even know this, but there's never been an undisputed Mexican fighter. I find that hard to believe, but it was definitely said. So that's Canelo's goal. Canelo's goal, and it has been well known, Eddie Hearn has said it, Canelo's team has said it, they aim to fight Billy Joe Saunders May 8th, and then sometimes in September, they are looking to fight Caleb Plant. Now, if Canelo Alvarez goes through these 2 fighters, we're finally going to have an undisputed champion at 168, and he will become the first Mexican undisputed champion. Now, the Meatloaf, who do you think is Devin's greatest enemy? I don't know. Devin seems like a nice kid. I don't think he has enemies. I know the little beef between him and Lomachenko is there because Devin claims that Lomachenko ducked him and went to become the franchise champion instead of fighting Devin. Apparently, Devin worked his way up through the WBC ranks, and as soon as he became mandatory, Loma went to the WBC convention and promoted or asked to be the franchise champion. So as far as enemy, I would say Loma is probably his biggest enemy. Ryan Garcia seems to talk a lot of crap and say he doesn't want to fight Devin. He's not a big enough fight for him. So I would say his biggest enemy is probably Ryan Garcia and Lomachenko right now. That's just my opinion. I mean, like I said, Devin's a nice kid. He don't really hate on anybody. I mean, it seems like he wants the big fights. He calls them all out, but it just doesn't seem to happen for him. Yeah, Look, Canelo is an enigma. And he's been getting a lot of hate. Look at my notes right here. I got notes. I always write down notes. And one of the videos that I was gonna do is, why does Canelo receive so much hate? Why? Do you really think fighters duck each other, or is it the money and politics that don't make the fight happen? Well, I would like to think that these guys are career fighters, career boxers. They've had hundreds of spars, a lot of fights, come up through the amateurs. They've fought in a lot of people. I don't think these fighters are scared of each other. But money does come into play, and the people behind the fighters come into play. Obviously, if you can have 10 fights of mediocre opponents and make a good paycheck, why would you throw your fighter in there, even if it's worth double the amount of money of his chance of getting beaten? That's one of the big problems in boxing. Floyd Mayweather started this stuff. A-side, protecting the undefeated record. And promoters are a big problem. If you have a young fighter and that young fighter loses, it shouldn't be in the contract that your pay grade gets cut in half. That's ridiculous. The fans want to see good fights. They want to see competitive fights. But if you're going to tell your boxer, your fighter, that if you lose this competitive, awesome fight that the fans have been asking for, we're going to cut your pay. I mean, that shit just boggles my mind. I don't understand that. That's ridiculous. Fighters who are taking tough 50-50 fights, they should be rewarded for that. They shouldn't be, penalized for that. So that's pretty much, this stream is really just about 2021. We want to see Undisputed. And there's a couple pathways in each division where we could finally get there. And the casual fans and the mainstream media can be like, all right, 154 pounds, you have one champion. It ain't no more confusion. The casual fans won't ask me, man, why is there 4 champions in one division? And then you have to sit there and explain it to them, and it boggles their mind, and they really don't understand it. I'm talking about casuals here. So this is why Undisputed is important. This is why 2021 can be important. We definitely are going to see Undisputed in 140 pounds with Ramirez and Taylor. And then if Fury and AJ sign that contract, which it's rumored has it that everybody agrees, we'll see our first ever 4-belt heavyweight undisputed champion. And that's what we need, because like I've said, boxing goes as the heavyweight division goes. The meatloaf. I always tell my bros, fighters are like little kids playing online. Once they lose, they want to shut the game down to protect. Any online gamers out there, you'll understand that. When I was playing online games back in the day, a couple years ago, I definitely I think I've done that one or two times. But I've grown up a little bit since. So if I start gaming again, I won't do that. But I completely understand. Good analogy. Yes, they want to shut the game off before they lose that undefeated record. But a lot of that is the culture around boxing. If we can change that mindset, the fighters, the promoters, the managers, the TV networks, get out of that Floyd Mayweather mindset, this A-side and undefeated and I'm the man and you got to come over here and see me and I'm going to give you 25%, 30% to fight me. These fighters should not be worried about counting other man's pockets. Not the fighters. Leave that up to your manager. If me and, let's say, Andy Ruiz is fighting next week, and they come to me and they go, hey, Dave, we're going to offer you $10 million to fight Ruiz. If I'm happy with that $10 million, what do I give a fuck what Andy Ruiz is going to get? These fighters have got to stop counting other grown men's pockets. That's why you have managers. That's why you have promoters. And that's another thing. These promoters and managers, they got to keep this contract negotiations out of the public. Because all you're going to get is damaged and hurt feelings from fighters. And then they're going to puff their chest out and the fight will never happen. And the only thing you'll see is more shit talking on Twitter. And then the fights don't happen. And we do not want to see that. The Meatloaf, do you think Ruiz is a solid boxer? Well, I think he's a very good boxer. Some people think that he won the Joseph Parker fight. Some people think he lost the Joseph Parker fight. No. Ruiz didn't get lucky. What happened with Ruiz and Joshua that night? Joshua showed up, and he thought it was going to be an easy night. Andy Ruiz was just coming off another fight. Andy Ruiz was fight ready. He was just in a fight against a guy with similar stature of AJ. Obviously, that guy Ruiz beat before wasn't as good as AJ, but it was the best practice you could get for AJ. Similar height, similar build. Not as good, obviously. Ruiz didn't have a chance to get out of shape like we saw with the second fight. And I think, obviously, the time zone, first time fighting in America for AJ, getting walloped in the left side of the temple. I think he got hit by a punch and just couldn't recover. But for everybody out there who is saying that Ruiz is a better fighter than Joshua, I mean, we all saw what happened in that second fight. And Joshua was a better fighter. But no, Ruiz didn't get lucky. I mean, if you win a heavyweight division, I don't think you get lucky. I think you had a great night and your opponent had an off night. But Ruiz is a good fighter. I would say Ruiz is probably, who do I got? We got Fury, Wilder, Joshua. Then what do we got? Usyk, Dylan White, Ruiz. They're all right there. Ruiz is a good, solid fighter. And I'm anxious to see what Ruiz does against Areola and being a part of Eddie Reynoso's team, Canelo's team. Seems like he's lost weight. And since Eddie Reynoso hasn't kicked him out of the gym yet, you know he's taking this serious, because I don't think Eddie Reynoso would waste his time with a fighter. Even though I hate that Ruiz versus Areola is pay-per-view, I'm a boxing fan, so they'll get my money as usual. But I'm curious to see what Ruiz looks like. I don't think Ruiz was himself in the rematch against Joshua. As he admitted, he trained in the kitchen. He ate himself out of that second fight. But Ruiz's skills is definitely up there with the top heavyweights. He's just got to stay disciplined. If Ruiz stays disciplined, I think he'll be good. A new guy jumped in, boxing enthusiast. People forget Canelo got popped for PEDs. People do forget that. Or if they haven't forgot it, they try to push it to the back burner. Now, Canelo, that wasn't a good look, man. It was a bad look. I mean, you're going to go down in history as one of the greats. And the reason why that's going to happen, obviously because he's a great fighter, boxing enthusiast, You can't take that away from him, even if you're not a fan. But it also has to go down in history that he popped for Peds. I mean, it is what it is. You can't. Yes, Canelo's a great fighter. Yes, we can all admit that. But now he's got an asterisk. Just like Billy Joe Saunders, one of my favorite fighters. Now he's got an asterisk. Every situation is different. I hate that these guys are still doing whatever they're doing and getting away with it. And there needs to be harsher penalties. I mean, Canelo popped for Peds. Canelo popped for Peds. He had a 6-month suspension, which he wasn't going to fight anyway. And then he had the Triple G fight right after that. So he didn't even really get penalized. Yes, boxing enthusiast, he is a great fighter. Great fighter, and I'm hoping that he realizes it was a mistake. And I'm hoping that he'll realize that he probably doesn't need that bullshit. Mother Meatloaf. Why does it seem like boxers nowadays don't challenge themselves anymore? If that makes sense. No, it completely makes sense. It completely makes sense. And that's the whole point of this video. Becoming undisputed. To become undisputed, you're going to have to challenge yourself. And that's what us fight fans want to see. But they don't challenge themselves anymore. And I really don't want to sit here and say they don't challenge themselves anymore because they're scared. I don't believe that's the case. I think that boxing has just become such a big business that these guys in suits, they don't want to risk losing their breadwinner, their golden goose, so to say. And that's the tough part. But the good news is 2021, it looks like we are going to get a lot of fighters challenging themselves. Like I said, we got AJ Fury, likely to happen at the end of June. We got Taylor Ramirez fighting May 22nd. We can have Charlo fighting Castagna for Undisputed 154. Depending on who wins May 8th, Canelo or Billy Joe. The winner of that can go right into Caleb Plant in September. And we could have a Undisputed in the 168-pound division. And then the big one that everybody's waiting on, and it's frustrating every time I think about it, every time I talk about it, is Spence and Crawford. Now, there's a couple different things that can happen here. Ugas and Spence can fight, and Spence could, I'm assuming, would beat him. So Spence would have the 3 belts, Crawford would have the 1 belt. But you guys as fight fans, do you want to see Crawford and Spence fight for Undisputed? Or would you rather say, screw it, who cares about that belt that Ugas has? Spence Crawford, let's get it on, fight now. I don't care if it's for Undisputed. The Meatloaf says, Canelo trips me out. He jumped up in weight just like James Toney. Yeah. I mean, I think, honestly, Canelo jumped up in weight, and then he jumped right back down. And part of the reasons why I think Canelo jumped up in weight is because he saw an opportunity to become, 4-weight division champion? Yeah. 54, 60, yeah. I think he saw an easy touch with Sergey Kovalev, and knew he was on his way out. And once he beat him, he jumped right back down in weight. But, I mean, it's still an unbelievable feat. And you might see Canelo fighting there in the later stages of his career. Boxing enthusiast. Josh Taylor's from my city, Edinburgh, Scotland. Unbelievable fighters going to big things. Keep an eye out. Pound for pound material. I'm a huge Josh Taylor fan. What him and Progrades did in that fight to each other, and they both came out the ring standing and showing respect for each other. That's what boxing is all about. You beat the shit out of each other for 12 rounds, and then you look the other guy in the face and say, what a hell of a fight. And if you lost, you say, hey, the better man won tonight. And that's exactly what Regis Prograde did. I gained a lot of respect for him that night. And, of course, Josh Taylor fighting the last couple rounds with literally one eye. I mean, it looked like he had a softball on the side of his head, for Christ's sakes. And I can't wait until May 22nd. I can't. It's going to be an unbelievable fight. And it's another example of 2021 boxing. This is the year we can come back. This is the year. With great fights like Ramirez and Josh Taylor. Great fights. And he could be pound for pound material. The only thing that's hurting Josh Taylor right now, well, there's a couple different things, but it's going to change here shortly because he signed with Top Rank, so he's going to get more exposure in the United States. So that's good for him. Even though if you're a hardcore fan, you know who Josh Taylor is, like me. And the other thing that hurts him, even though he's climbed the scale so quick, he's really, what has he got, 15, 14, 16 fights right around there? But if he becomes undisputed and he jumps up and fights Crawford, his recognition is going to go through the roof. But yes, Josh Taylor is a hell of a fighter. And I think he needs a couple more big fights in the United States to get his name out there. And then he's right up there in my pound-for-pound division, without a doubt. The Meatloaf waiting for Spence to fight again. And then Josh is a class act. Yep. Josh Taylor is a class act. I'm waiting to see how he looks training with Ben Davidson. Waiting for Spence to fight again. Yeah. Once Ugas got elevated to super champ, I think it was. I think everybody thought that was the route that the PBC and Spence and Ugas were going to go. Unification fight, PBC, same network. Texas is fully open now. Spence is from Texas. You could go down there, throw it on pay-per-view, sell a lot of tickets, and make both fighters a lot of money. That seems logical. But like I just said, would you rather see Spence fight Ugas now? Or would you rather see Spence fight Crawford? Even though it wouldn't be for Undisputed. Me, myself, I would like to see Spence fight Crawford. No waiting around. No waiting around at all. Right now. And then the winner of that fight could have a rematch. But if there's no rematch, the winner goes and fights Ugas. That's what I want to see. But either way, Spence and Crawford need to fight, and they need to fight this year. Whether they each have a fight earlier on this year, and then they fight at the end of this year. However it has to happen, I want to see the fight as soon as possible. The Meatloaf. Do you think Brits have been getting the short end of the stick? UK fighters have been losing a lot lately. Let me think. Are you talking about US fighters versus Brits? And the Brits have been coming up the short end of the stick? Who are you thinking of real quick? Just who are you thinking of? Because I'm trying to think of any UK fighters that are coming up short against USA fighters. God, let me think. Big fights lately. I mean, I've seen a lot of UK fighters fighting in the UK who are favorites that have lost. Like Josh Warrington, he lost to that Mexican dude who looked like a real good fighter. We saw Josh Kelly lose to Avanesian. So I think those are the fights you might be talking about, even though they weren't against American fighters. Who else? There was a couple upsets over there. Dylan White got blasted out the ring by Povetkin, but like I said, Povetkin wasn't a U.S. fighter. And a lot of those three fights that I just mentioned, I don't think too many people in America saw them, unless you're hardcore fans like myself. Because I think though all of those fights winded up. No, two of them ended up on the zone. I'm assuming Josh Warrington fought on ESPN Plus. But yeah, man, UK fighters, even though they haven't been losing to American fighters, yeah, they've had a tough run here lately. Yeah. No, you're right. Those are just the three fights I thought off the top of my head. But UK fans, don't feel sad because you just had Tyson Fury slap Deontay Wilder around the ring and stopped him. So at least you got that. At least you guys got all the belts in the UK as far as the heavyweight division. You got that. We had all the belts over here as far as heavyweight division with Ruiz and Wilder. And snap of a finger, boom, all the belts gone. Heavyweight division back in the UK. But even though I'm an American, I love the UK boxing scene. I always keep up with it, or at least I try to, because I would like to see boxing become a top sport in America like it is in the UK. Tyson Fury fan, by the way. Yep, I'm a big Fury fan. I love Fury. And I love Deontay Wilder. But with all the BS that's come up with Wilder, it's disappointed me, man. It's definitely disappointed me. But yes, I'm a huge Fury fan. Who do you got in the Fury versus AJ fight? Huh? Who do you got there? That's a tough one to call. I don't know who I got there either. I just don't. One day I wake up and I say Tyson Fury. The next day I wake up and I say Anthony Joshua. Yeah, I don't know who's going to win that fight. I change my mind every day. For me, I don't know who's going to win that fight, but I will be rooting for Tyson Fury in the first fight. Because I think that even though Fury was an idiot after he beat Klitschko and he lost all of his belts because of all the bull crap out of the ring, I would still like to see him regain his belts that he never lost in the ring. You get what I'm saying? But Fury could win the first one, AJ can win the second one, then we have a trilogy, and every fight would be a classic. So, as the sport of boxing goes, as the heavyweight division goes, the sport of boxing goes, and we need at least two big fights from AJ and Fury. The meatloaf. Wilder had power, he really did. If the ref lets Tyson Fury clinch the whole fight, if the ref lets Tyson clinch the whole fight, then AJ is done. Clinching is a big part of boxing. I don't know why people look down on clinching. Well, I got a couple different opinions on clinching. obviously, when you're fighting and you're tired and you're trying to get a rest, it's okay to clinch. When you're trying to smother someone's punches and that's your way of smother an inside body work, you'd rather just clinch and get out of there and reset. I agree with it. Clinching is part of boxing. What I do have a problem with, and I really don't see Tyson Fury doing it that much, but I've seen a lot of other fighters do it, is when they clinch and they rabbit punch behind the head. I think the first time you see that as a referee, it should be broken and given a stern warning right away. Those punches don't seem like a lot to the average fan watching at home, but those punches are very, very debilitating. Then they're not good for the brain. So I've seen a lot of fights where they clinch and you see a rabbit punch and the referee sees it, blatantly sees it, and then just breaks the fighters and let them continue in the building. Jamie Hernandez in the building. What's up, brother, man? Holla at your boy. How are you feeling? How are you feeling, family? I hope all is well with you and yours, like always. Like always. Yeah, Mother Meatloaf. Rabbit punch is a no-no. I hate it. I don't like it whatsoever, and we see a lot of referees let it go by more often than not. But it is what it is. You can't change a sport overnight, and some referees are better than others at it, not allowing it to happen. Kenny Bayless doesn't let you fight in the clinch whatsoever. He jumps in 1 second. Jamie Hernandez, another day, my friend. That's right, brother. That's right. Another day. Start of a new week tomorrow. Can't wait to see what the boxing community brings us next week. I'm hoping for a big announcement for the AJ and Fury. But we'll have to wait and see. Jamie Hernandez, I asked a question before you jumped in. This video is about Undisputed. We want to see Undisputed. It only does good things for the sport. Right now, would you rather see Spence versus Crawford for just the 3 belts on the line? Or would you rather see Spence versus Ugas and then the winner fights Crawford for all the belts? I'd rather just see Spencer Crawford right now, and then whoever wins that fight can go and chase Ugas down to become undisputed. But everybody has their own opinion. I just want to see these fights. Yeah, rabbit punches happen a lot on Mother Meatloaf. Undercard fights especially. I don't know if referees know that they're reffing an undercard fight, so they're not as hardcore and strict. I don't know how to explain it. Not as strict because they know it's an undercard fight. Maybe because the refs know that it's only 4 to 6 or 8 rounders, so rabbit punches aren't going to be too debilitating. But I think 1 rabbit punch is too much, and the first time you see it, there should be hard warnings given. Jamie Hernandez, Spence, Crawford, no doubt. Yes, sir, my brother. I just want to see them fight. I've heard Crawford talking about moving up. God, I would hate that. I would really, really hate that. We got to see Spence and Crawford. We just got to. We got to. Now, me, though, I would give my left nut to see Crawford and Spence go at it. Absolutely. We've been talking about this fight now for a couple of years. We've heard all the trash talking go back and forth. And that's another thing, too, with these fighters. All these fighters, well, that fight's not going to happen because he's on the other side of the street. And what I say to that is, find a crosswalk, motherfucker, and cross the street. We've seen it happen. Pacquiao, Mayweather, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. Now, I would say Spence and Crawford is probably third on that list as far as the other two fights I just named. But that's still a big enough fight that you can cross the street and get in that crosswalk and walk across the street. Why not? Absolutely, why not? Hell yeah, Mikey's come back. That's a good fight too. We usually you ain't gonna see Mikey in the gym just hanging out and working out for no reason. So we've seen Pacquiao in the gym, we've seen Mikey in the gym. We know that Mikey and Pacquiao have tried to make this fight numerous times. According to Mikey and according to Eddie Hearn, it was damn near a done deal right before the pandemic struck us. But as we hear Mikey talk, we haven't really heard much from Pacquiao. We just seen him in the gym. We still got Bob Arum out there saying that Pacquiao Crawford is number one on Crawford's list. Let Mikey and Manny fight and Crawford fight Spence. That's what I want. But yes, Mikey is my top 3 favorite fighter out there. I've liked him for a long time. I like his fundamentals. I like how he catches all the shots with his gloves. And Mikey's never out of position. He's always in position. Now, a lot of times Mikey will be in position and not take advantage of it, but at least he's always in position to do damage when need be. Mikey beating Spence, quite honestly, that would have been a tough task for Mikey, being his first fight at 147. But not only that, even if Mikey was 100%, it still would have been a hard fight for Mikey to win that against Spence. But to make things worse and make it look bad on Mikey, he had an off night that night. A lot of it had to do with Spence neglecting, not allowing Mikey to get going. But besides that, Mikey had a tough night, so that fight just looked worse, a lot worse than it could have been. Malamilo, do you think fathers who coach their sons like Tio and Haney is bad for the sport? Well, you got two different opinions. According to Haney, he's getting a new trainer for his next fight. Teofimo Lopez says that sometimes he doesn't like it because sometimes he just wants his dad to be his dad. But Teofimo Lopez is still using his father as a trainer. You got Lomachenko and his dad. I don't know of a better example than that. They seem to have it figured out, even though Loma lost his last fight, but that relationship seems to work good. Who else do we got out there? Any other fathers out there that train their sons? I'm trying to think. Peter Fury and Huey Fury. That has seemed to work out decent. It's really not. Most of these fathers have been around the game for a while, so they know they're boxing. But it all just breaks down to the type of relationship you guys have outside the ring. Like if the training starts getting involved with your relationship as your father outside the ring, then it might be time to look elsewhere. But Devin Haney's looking elsewhere, so we'll see how that works. With his father, he's been undefeated. Now he's looking for a new trainer. Yeah, it can work. I think Mosley Sr. was Shane's head coach for a while. Roy Jones Jr., his father was his trainer forever. But to this day, Roy Jones Jr. don't speak to his father at all. So it all depends on how you look at it. How you look at it. It all depends. It all depends. Hey guys, give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. I want to jump right back on since I haven't been live with you guys in a while. Give me 2 seconds. Do not take off. Sorry about that, guys. I had to hit the head. So yeah, Undisputed 2021. We have an opportunity of seeing the small Charlo fight Castano. Is that how you pronounce his name? Castano. How the hell do you pronounce his name? Yeah, Castano. Yeah. I don't know much about Castano. I saw him fight Teixeira. But 154. That's another division we can have undisputed. Jamie Hernandez. I'm ready for the 135-pound princesses to rise above their egos and fight. Yeah, I would like to see it. I mean, as of right now, Devin Haney should be fighting Ryan Garcia. They are on the same network. They are both open and free for fights, even though I think it's going to be announced next week that Haney's fighting Linares. But there was no reason for that fight not to happen. Ryan Garcia is calling out Manny Pacquiao and Tank Davis, knowing damn well that those fights were not going to happen for him. Tank is not going to leave the PBC and fight on his own. And Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao, by the looks of it, had 2 other fights ahead of Ryan Garcia. I don't know how true it was that Ryan Garcia got an offer from Pacquiao. Maybe he was serious. I don't know. I don't know why Pacquiao would throw his belt away and let Ugas take it. But, yeah, after Teofimo Lopez beats Kambosos, he should fight one of the people in the 135-pound division. By the looks of it, him and Bob Arum are not going to get along. So I doubt you're going to see him fight a rematch with Loma. He could come to the zone and fight Garcia or Haney. I don't know. But I'd like them all to fight each other multiple times. I heard content creators call 2021 the year undisputed chance, which is weird because everyone has been saying it's duck season. Well, my opinion on certain content creators is just because fighters don't fight the fighters that they like, the PBC fighters, then everyone's a duck. But as we all know, that I don't think fighters are scared of fighting. I think it's people behind the scenes. The certain channels and content creators that you were talking about, I think we all know who those people are. And I think those people are bad for the sport. They would rather cause destruction in the sport. They would rather see the sport go back 100 years. But I don't know. I mean, last time we saw Undisputed was what? Usyk, 4-belt Undisputed, Usyk in 2019, and Crawford did it 2017. I mean, and now we're talking this year. We definitely have 2 weight classes that are going to become undisputed. That's the 140-pound division with Taylor and Ramirez. And then, like we all assume, AJ and Fury. So, that right there. Sorry, got a client calling me. So right there, we got 2 definite undisputed fights in 2021, in my eyes. And like I said, we can go down the list. There's road and pathways to other undisputed fights. Canelo has already said that if he beats Billy Joe Saunders May 8th, he will be fighting Caleb Plant in September. Caleb Plant recently came out and did an interview with, I think it was Boxing Social, or Seconds Out, one of them. And Caleb Plant said, yeah, his last fight he hurt his hand. He is not fighting until September, and he is under the impression that that fight will be against Canelo. So we got the heavyweight division that's going to be unified. We got the undisputed. We got the 140-pound division that can be undisputed. And then if Canelo does what he wants to do, which is beat Billy Joe May 8th and then fight Caleb Plant at the end in September, that's 3 divisions right there that we can have undisputed. That's a pathway. Those are likely to happen. Now, I don't know who Castano is signed to. Maybe Golden Boy. Maybe one of you guys out there know who he's signed to. But Charlo versus Castano. That right there. That's undisputed. That would be 4 weight classes in 1 year that become undisputed. Now, you ain't never seen that. So, instead of talking shit on boxing like those certain channels do, I don't even want to say their names because they piss me off so much. Instead of saying that boxing is shit and everybody is ducking everybody, why not do a video like this where it says 2021 can be the year of undisputed? Huh? Why can't we look at it like that? Instead of just talking shit and yelling at your subscribers and blocking people. Why can't we do it this way? Boxing's in a good space. And if we play our cards right, the sport of boxing will continue to grow. Continue to climb that ladder in America. I already know in the UK that it's the second most popular sport. But in America, we're down a lot of rungs. And by having these undisputed fights, and by bigging up the sport of boxing and talking positive about the sport of boxing, instead of calling everybody ducks and wussies and all the other crap they come out with, we can start building the sport back up, getting it to at least top 3 in America. Can I get that? Can I get top 3? The meatloaf. Not going to lie, Canelo is a hell of a boxer. Yes, he is. I agree. Definitely. Check out this vid of Canelo when you get a chance. What vid of Canelo? You have to put the link, my brother. You have to put the link, my brother. Or put it in the comments after my stream. Check out this vid of Canelo when you get a chance. Yeah, put it in the comments or... Yeah, put it in the comments after the stream. That's how I'll most likely see it. Because if you put it in the chat, it's going to disappear and I'll probably forget about it. As you can see, I've already gotten 2 phone calls since I've been on live stream, so I'll forget. Just things space my mind. So yeah, instead of looking at boxing, man, in this negative light, 2021 can be the year of boxing. Check this out. The heavyweight division has never had a 4-belt undisputed champion. There's been plenty of undisputed champions in the heavyweight division. It's just not since we've had the 4 major belts. The Meatloaf, give you a wrench. How the hell do I do that, huh? This is only my 3rd live stream. I don't know what that means. I don't know what any of that means. Give you a wrench. Uh-oh. Did my shit just shut off? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What happened? What happened? What happened? Go there. Why can't I go there? What's going on here? See? I fucking tried to look at something. What is going on here? How do I get back, brother? How do I get back? How do I get back, man? Am I still live? Am I still live? Am I still live? Am I still live? I hope I am. I hope. Oh, there I am. Am I back? Am I back, man? What happened? Let me be a moderator. By the Meatloaf. I don't know how to do that. I think I just screwed up my trying to look at something. How do I do that? I don't know how I do that. I have no problem doing it. But I don't want to screw up my stream. I don't want to screw up my stream. I don't know. Maybe there's a way to... Participants. Yeah, you'd have to let me know how to do it, because I don't know how to do it off the top of my head. I think I have to do it in settings or something, but I'd have to do it in settings. But yeah, Mother Meatloaf. I'm gonna look into it after I jump off the stream and see how in the hell to do it. But if I started handing out wrenches, Canelo the Killer on YouTube. Alright, let me write that down real quick. Yeah, man, I'll definitely check that out. How about this? Check it out right now. I ain't scared. I'll check it out right now. Throw it on the screen. See if I can find it. See if I can find that video that you're talking about. Canelo the Killer. Oh, highlight film. It's a highlight film. A highlight film. Canelo is a killer. Canelo is definitely a killer. Let me see something here. Let me see something here. Let me see something here. Let me see what we got going on here. We talking about this video? Talking about that video. Yeah, I think that's the video that you're talking about. Ma the Meatloaf. Jamie Hernandez. I want to see Big Charlo versus Benavidez. I want to see Big Charlo versus Benavidez. Too much trash talk. I'm ready to see someone drop Charlo's disrespectful ass. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. Oh, see, I messed up. See, I'm not used to that. Yeah, Ma the Meatloaf. But yeah, I'm gonna put that in my watch later and watch it, and then I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it. But I don't want to get. I think what? I get flagged for something like that? Playing someone else's videos? Y'all got to think out there, man. I'm still new at this, so I got to get used to it. But yeah, Big Charlo versus Benavidez. You know what I hate, Jamie? I don't even know if I want to. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Is it Jamie or Jaime, like Jaime Munguia Hernandez? I want to call Jaime Hernandez. That sounds right. But yeah, I would love to see Benavidez versus Charlo. And what I hate about Benavidez, Charlo, everybody out there over there on that side of the street is calling out Canelo. And everybody already knows Canelo's got his plan set for the year. So instead of waiting for a handout from the cash cow Canelo, why don't Charlo and Benavidez just fight? Why didn't either one of them try to call out Plant? Or if they did, why didn't they make it more known? I mean, it seems like every day I see a video of Benavidez saying he wants Canelo. Charlo saying he wants Canelo. I mean, everybody's calling out Canelo. For Christ's sake, we just saw Jake Paul call him out. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But who do you got in that Jaime Hernandez? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain a smooth stream. Alright, so what the hell do I do? What the hell do I do, huh? I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, who do you got? Hernandez. You got Big Charlo in that one, and you got Benavidez. I would like to see Benavidez smash him around the ring. But Big Charlo is no joke. He's a great fighter with a great resume. A good resume, actually. But yeah, there you go. I'm with you. I'm with you. I think it'll be a great fight, and if that fight were to happen, I would be rooting for Benavidez. I like his style. I like his come forward style, and he could be one of the best fighters in boxing if he could just straighten up his outside the ring issues. and figure out how to stay comfortable at that weight class. Because he's a force to be reckoned with. An absolutely force to be reckoned with. I do love me some Benavidez. But yeah, man. The last 4-belt undisputed champions that we had, like I said, we haven't had one in the heavyweight division. We had Usyk in 2019 in the cruiserweight. There hasn't been a lightweight 4-belt undisputed. No middleweight 4-belt undisputed. Wait. Oh, super middleweight. Yeah, there's been no super middleweight undisputed. Middleweight undisputed 4 belts. We've had 2. We had Bernard Hopkins in 2021, and then we had Jermaine Taylor in 2005. 154-pound division, which is Little Charlo, who can become the first 4-belt undisputed champion if he beats Castano if they fight. There's been no 147-pound 4-belt undisputed. Crawford was the last 140-pound 4-belt undisputed champion. That was in 2017. And everybody out there, 135-pound division. Do we consider Teofimo Lopez undisputed? We all know Devin Haney has the WBC title. As of right now, do we consider Teofimo Lopez undisputed? One day I hear Mauricio Suleiman say, nope, he's not undisputed. And then just recently, I've heard Mauricio Suleiman say he is undisputed. But then, apparently, the other 3 organizations don't recognize franchise champion having a chance to become undisputed. So, the 135-pound division, I'm lost. What do you guys think? I guess if you would ask me right now without thinking too much about it, I would say yes, you'd have to consider Teofimo Lopez undisputed champion of the 135-pound division. I would. But like I said, I'd still love to see Devin Haney fight Teofimo Lopez. And I think that fight could happen. A couple months ago, we saw Eddie Hearn tell Teofimo Lopez that he could possibly get $7 million to fight Haney. But we all know Bob Arum is not happy with Teofimo Lopez, so I believe that Teofimo Lopez, after his next fight, is going to be in a sticky situation. I don't think he'll be able to make any other fights unless they are mandated and unless they go to purse bid. Jaime Hernandez says yes, he would consider him, and I think I'm leaning that way too. I mean, he fought Nick Nakatani, he fought Richard Comey. Then he fought Lomachenko. I mean, you'd have to give it to him. You'd have to give it to him as of right now. But all the 4 organizations need to get on the same wavelength so there is no confusion. But, like I said, Teofimo Lopez, after you fight Kambosos, come to the zone and fight Haney. Straighten it out once and for all. So yeah, man, we got some undisputed fights coming up this year, and I can't wait. And I can't wait. Like I said at the beginning of this stream, that's what boxing needs. Boxing needs undisputed. There's too many belts. And for us to fix that problem, because we all know that the sanctioning bodies are not going to just voluntary disappear and stop becoming a sanctioning body, because that's money to them. The only way that we can fix this is if we have undisputed champions. And this is the year we can do it. Jaime Hernandez says this kid has fought credible fighters, man. Hell yeah, he has. Out of all of them out there, out of the so-called four kings, which that drives me nuts too, because Tank Davis ain't fighting at 135, and he's on that list. But out of all them so-called, out of Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, Lopez has the best resume out of those fighters. Look, I've never been a Canelo fan, but the man deserves respect. Yes, he does. But what's going to hurt him, unless the world of boxing forgets, we all know Mexico is going to forget it, is his little asterisk after the first Triple G fight. Hopefully, another situation like that does not come up for Canelo. But regardless, he is one hell of a fighter. One hell of a fighter. Hey, so guys, I've been with you guys for an hour and a half now. I have to go and make a couple phone calls. I got to go deal with my dog. So I appreciate you guys jumping in with me. I'm going to try to be more consistent going live. And if I can't get to you guys live, I'm going to try to drop a video every day. I've been pretty good about it, but as you know, life happens. So everybody out there, you know what to do. Please like, subscribe, and share. Shout out to Mata Meatloaf, Jaime Hernandez, and anybody else who's out there who just decided to watch and not jump in the chat. I appreciate you guys. And I'll see y'all soon. Moore's House. Peace.